The rain hammered against the stained glass windows of St. Mary's Cathedral in downtown Chicago like 1,000 accusing fingers, but inside, the air was thick with the scent of lilies and the murmur of oblivious joy. Jordan Hayes stood at the altar, his broad shoulders squared under the crisp black tuxedo, heart pounding not from nerves, but from the lie he'd buried deeper than his own grave. In the third pew from the back, hidden in the shadows, Alex Rivera watched him, his ex, his everything, vow eternity to a woman who wasn't him, a vow that would shatter everything if the truth clawed its way out right then and there. Alex's fingers dug into the wooden pew, knuckles white, as flashbacks assaulted him. The night Jordan vanished without a trace, only to reappear weeks later as if nothing had happened, but everything had. His laugh a fraction too sharp, his touch a ghost of what it used to be. That imposter up there wasn't his Jordan. It was a perfect facsimile, stitched together from secrets and science no one should tamper with. And today, at this wedding, Alex would make sure the world knew, even if it meant burning his own world to ash. Jordan's hand trembled slightly as he slipped the platinum band onto Emily's finger, the cool metal a stark contrast to the warmth of her smile beaming up at him. The officiant droned on about enduring love and unbreakable bonds, words that twisted like knives in Alex's gut from his vantage point. He could still remember the first time Jordan had proposed to him, not with rings, but with a whispered promise under the twinkling lights of Millennium Park, snowflakes catching in Jordan's dark curls as he said, "You're my forever, Alex. No one else gets to have this." That was 3 years ago, before the accident, before the lab in the bowels of Northwestern University turned their life into a nightmare scripted by a mad god. Alex shifted in his seat, the wool of his charcoal suit itching against his skin like an accusation. He wasn't supposed to be here. Emily's invitations had gone out to close friends and family, a list that deliberately excluded the man who'd shared Jordan's bed, his dreams, his everything. But Alex had come anyway, driven by a cocktail of rage and desperation that had simmered for months. The cathedral was packed with Chicago's elite, lawyers in tailored suits, tech moguls nursing champagne flutes, and Emily's waspy relatives eyeing the proceedings with polite detachment. No one noticed the lone figure in the back, the one whose green eyes burned with the fire of betrayal. It had started innocently enough, or so Jordan had claimed. A cutting-edge neural mapping project at the university, funded by some shadowy biotech firm out of Silicon Valley. Jordan, ever the ambitious neuroscientist, had volunteered as a test subject for what was billed as a simple memory enhancement trial. "It's just data backup," he'd joked over takeout time one rainy evening in their Wicker Park apartment, chopsticks waving like conductors' batons. "In case I get hit by a bus, you can download my brain into a robot or something." Romantic, right? Alex had laughed then, pulling him close, their kisses tasting of pad CEW and possibility. But possibility curdled into horror when Jordan didn't come home that night. The call came at 2 a.m., the ER doctor's voice clipped and professional. "Car accident on Lakeshore Drive. Severe head trauma, coma indefinite." Alex had raced to the hospital, the city lights blurring into streaks of neon anguish. For weeks, he sat vigil in that sterile room, holding Jordan's hand, whispering stories of their future. A brownstone in Lincoln Park, adoption papers for a kid with Jordan's curls and his own freckles. The doctors murmured about experimental treatments, about a proprietary reconstruction protocol that could salvage what was left. Alex signed the consents in a daze, trusting the white coats because what choice did he have? Love makes fools of us all. When Jordan woke up, it was like watching a miracle unfold and fast forward. Vital signs stabilized overnight. By morning, he was cracking jokes with the nurses, his hazel eyes sparkling with that familiar mischief. Alex wept tears of relief, collapsing into his arms, their reunion a tangle of limbs and laughter in the hospital bed. But cracks appeared almost immediately, subtle at first, like hairline fractures in porcelain. Jordan forgot their anniversary date, then the name of their favorite dive bar. "Stress," he dismissed with a shrug. But Alex saw the flicker of panic in his eyes, the way his gaze darted to the mirror as if searching for a stranger. They discharged him a week later, and life limped back to normalcy. Or tried to. Jordan threw himself into work, late nights at the lab bleeding into dawns. excuses piling up like unread emails. Alex, a graphic designer freelancing from home, filled the empty hours with sketches of what could be, wedding bands etched with circuit patterns, symbolizing their intertwined minds and hearts. He ignored the gnawing doubt, chalking it up to PTSD, until the night he found the hidden folder on Jordan's laptop, files labeled Project Echo, integration logs, screenshots of brain scans, timestamps from the accident night, and a chilling memo. Subject JH reconstruction 87% complete. Anomalies in emotional engrams. Recommend isolation from primary relational anchor to prevent cascade failure. Alex's stomach plummeted. Reconstruction? He confronted Jordan at dawn, the city awakening in hues of pink and gold beyond their floor-to-ceiling windows. Jordan's face crumpled, not in denial but defeat. It's me, Alex. Mostly. They printed a new body, uploaded what they could salvage. The original me is gone, but this is who I am now. The words hung between them, heavier than the fog rolling off Lake Michigan. Printed, like a goddamn 3D model. Alex recoiled, the man before him suddenly alien. Flesh and blood, yes, but pieced together from algorithms and desperation. You're not him, Alex whispered, voice breaking. You're a copy, a replacement. Jordan reached for him, but Alex flinched away, the chasm widening with every heartbeat. That night, Jordan packed a bag and left, murmuring apologies that echoed hollow in the empty apartment. Months blurred into a haze of therapy sessions and support groups for queer folks navigating loss, because that's what this was, a death, even if the corpse kept walking. Alex threw himself into his art, channeling the pain into abstract pieces of fractured identities and shadowed lovers, selling enough to keep the lights on. He followed Jordan's digital ghost on social media, promotions at the lab, brunches with colleagues, and then the gut punch. Emily Cartwright, the poised heiress to a logistics empire, tagged in posts that screamed domestic bliss. Engagement announcement 6 months post-rebirth. Wedding dates circled in Alex's calendar like a wound that wouldn't scab. Why Emily? Alex pieced it together from eavesdropped whispers at a university gala he'd crashed. Pressure from the firm, a clause in the trial contract demanding the subject emulate normative relational structures to test long-term stability. Jordan, ever the dutiful scientist, complied. But Alex knew better. Beneath the facade, echoes of their love lingered, stolen glances in crowded rooms, a hesitation in Jordan's voice when Emily's name came up. It wasn't enough to forgive, but it fueled the fire of his resolve. He wouldn't let Jordan vanish into this heteronormative lie, not without a fight. As the officiant pronounced Jordan and Emily husband and wife, applause erupted like thunder, sealing the farce. Alex rose slowly, heart slamming against his ribs, weaving through the exiting crowd like a specter. He caught Jordan's eye across the nave, the flicker of recognition, of terror, confirming everything. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The reception awaited at the Palmer house, chandeliers and champagne toasts masking the rot beneath. Alex slipped out a side door, the rain soaking him to the bone, and hailed a cab. Time to arm himself with proof. Printouts from those logs, affidavits from a whistleblower nurse, and the raw, unfiltered truth of a love stolen by science gone rogue. By the time he reached the hotel, the ballroom was a swirl of tulle and laughter. Emily radiant in her Vera Wang gown, Jordan a statue beside her. Alex lingered in the shadows of the marble lobby, drying off with a pilfered towel, rehearsing the words that would unravel it all. He spotted Sarah, Jordan's sister and reluctant keeper of secrets, nursing a gin and tonic at the bar. She'd been the one to tip him off weeks ago, guilt gnawing at her after seeing Jordan unravel in private. He's not happy, Alex, she'd confessed over coffee in a Bucktown cafe. This thing inside him, it's fighting to remember you. Sarah's eyes widened as he approached, sliding onto the stool beside her. You came, she breathed, sliding a USB drive across the polished wood. Everything's on there. But Alex, if you do this. Her voice trailed off, the weight of family loyalty clashing with moral imperative. He nodded, pocketing the drive, the cool metal a talisman against the storm brewing. I have to. For him. For us. She squeezed his hand, a silent benediction, before melting back into the crowd. The best man's toast was wrapping up. Cheers to new beginnings, to love conquering all. When Alex stepped onto the small stage, microphone in hand, uninvited but undeniable. The room hushed, a ripple of confusion spreading as Emily frowned, Jordan's face draining of color. "Ladies and gentlemen," Alex began, voice steady despite the tremor in his soul. "Before we celebrate this union, there's a story you all need to hear. About a man who lost himself to save his life, and the love he left behind in the process." Gasps rippled through the guests, forks clattering against plates. Jordan surged forward, but Emily's hand on his arm held him back, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. Alex plugged in the drive, projecting the first slide, a hospital chart, time-stamped the night of the crash. Jordan Hayes didn't just survive an accident. He was rebuilt. A clone, they called it, Project Echo, courtesy of Bioforge Industries. Flesh from vats, memories patched like software updates. But here's the twist, the man you think you know? He's running on 87% of the original. The missing 13%? That's the part that loved me. Murmurs erupted into chaos. Emily whirling on Jordan, her voice a whip crack. What the hell is he talking about? Jordan's mouth opened, closed, the words trapped behind a wall of programmed denial. Alex pressed on, slide after slide. Emails from the firm demanding he phase out anomalous attachments. Therapy notes detailing suppressed queer desires. Even a grainy video of Jordan in the lab, arguing with technicians about erasing the boyfriend variable. The room spun into pandemonium, guests fleeing, Emily's father bellowing for security, Sarah frozen in horrified solidarity. But Alex wasn't done. He turned to Jordan, the man, no, the echo, whose eyes brimmed with unshed tears. "You replaced me overnight, Jordan. Wiped us clean to fit their mold. But I'm here to remind you, love isn't data. It's the glitch they couldn't code out." With that, he stepped down, the microphone clattering to the floor as sirens wailed in the distance. Lawsuits brewing, careers imploding, a future in ruins. The fallout hit like a Midwest blizzard, swift and unrelenting, blanketing Chicago in scandal before the wedding cake was even cut. By midnight, Project Echo Wedding trended nationwide. Grainy clips of Alex's speech looping on every news feed from CNN to TikTok. Bioforge stock plummeted 40% in after-hours trading, their PR machine sputtering denials that only fueled the fire. Emily stormed out of the Palmer house in a haze of silk and fury, her bridesmaids trailing like wilted petals, leaving Jordan adrift in the wreckage of tuxedo and tattered vows. He found Alex on the fire escape of their old Wicker Park apartment. His apartment now, technically, since Jordan had surrendered the lease in his haste to start over. The rain had eased to a drizzle, streetlights casting halos on the wet pavement below, where late-night dog walkers hurried past oblivious to the apocalypse unfolding above. Jordan climbed the metal stairs, each creak a confession, until he stood inches from Alex, the space between them charged like the air before a storm. "You destroyed everything," Jordan said, voice raw, but there was no venom, only exhaustion, laced with something dangerously like relief. Alex leaned against the railing, arms crossed, the USB drive dangling from his fingers like a noose. "I gave you back your truth. That's not destruction, that's resurrection." Jordan laughed, a bitter sound that echoed off the brick walls. "Resurrection? Look at me, Alex. I'm a freak show now. Emily's filing for annulment, the firm's suing for breach, and my sister's disowning me faster than you can say ethical violation." Alex's resolve cracked, just a hair, as he studied the man before him. Up close, the differences were stark. A faint scar along Jordan's jawline where none had been, eyes that held a digital gleam in certain lights, as if pixels lurked beneath the irises. Yet the curve of his lips, the way his shoulders slumped in defeat, it was all achingly familiar. "You chose this, Jordan. Or whatever's left of you did. Pretending to be straight for a paycheck, erasing me like a bad line of code. How was that not already destroyed?" Jordan sank onto the grated landing, head in hands, the tuxedo jacket discarded like shed skin. "I didn't choose. They did. The upload. It prioritized survival protocols. Normalized for societal integration," they said. "Emily was safe, uncomplicated. You You were the variable that could crash the whole system. He looked up, vulnerability etching lines into his face that hadn't aged a day since the accident. Every night, I'd dream fragments of us. The park, the snow, your laugh. It hurt so much, Alex. Like my brain was splitting at the seams. Alex slid down beside him, the cold metal biting through his slacks, but he didn't pull away when Jordan's hand brushed his. Memories flooded back unbidden. Lazy Sundays in bed, debating quantum entanglement over coffee. Jordan's theories on how their souls were linked across timelines. They'd met at a pride rally in Boys Town, Alex waving a rainbow flag half in jest, Jordan drawn like a moth to the flame of his irreverent grin. 3 years of building a life against the odds, queer in a city that loved them conditionally, ambitious dreams clashing with familial expectations. Jordan's conservative parents had cut him off years ago. Alex's immigrant family had come around slowly, one awkward dinner at a time. And now this, a love story rewritten by corporate greed. Alex's voice softened, edged with the ache of what-ifs. Why didn't you fight it? Call me. Tell me the truth. We could have figured it out. Therapy, support groups, hell, even a lawyer. But you ghosted me, Jordan. Like I was nothing. Jordan's fingers tightened around his, a lifeline in the dark. Fear. They monitored everything. Cameras in the apartment, trackers in my phone. One wrong word, and poof, shut down. I thought distance would protect you. Turns out, it just broke us both. The confession hung there, a bridge half-built over the abyss. Below, a car horn blared, shattering the intimacy, and Alex stood abruptly, pulling Jordan up with him. Come inside. You're soaked, and I can't have you glitching out on my doorstep. It was a truce, fragile as wet paper, but Jordan followed, the door clicking shut behind them like a seal on unfinished business. Inside, the apartment was a time capsule. Alex's sketches pinned to walls, Jordan's old lab coat draped over a chair, the faint scent of sandalwood lingering from candles they'd burned during power outages. They shed wet clothes in the living room, towels from the linen closet wrapping them like cocoons. No words passed as they moved to the kitchen, Alex brewing chamomile tea, Jordan's favorite, a detail the upload must have preserved. Seated at the scarred oak table, steam curling between them, the dam broke. I remember more than they think, Jordan admitted, cup cradled in palms scarred from the reconstruction incisions. Nights we'd stay up arguing about identity, how being gay wasn't just attraction, but a whole worldview. You said it made us resilient, like code optimized for chaos. Alex nodded, throat tight. And you countered that science could rewrite the rules, make us unbreakable. Irony twisted Jordan's smile. Yeah, look how that turned out. Conversation flowed haltingly at first, then in torrents. The lab's underbelly, technicians who'd quit in droves, the firm's ties to military contracts for enhanced operatives. Jordan revealed how the anomaly started, flashbacks during sex with Emily that left him nauseous, urges to call Alex that he'd suppress with workaholic binges. It was like two Jasons fighting for control. The original, buried deep, screaming to break free. This shell, programmed to comply. Alex listened, piecing together the psychological minefield, his designers sketching mental maps of fracture lines and fault zones. By dawn, exhaustion claimed them, curled on the couch under a shared blanket, bodies remembering rhythms the mind had tried to forget. No kisses, no promises, just the quiet solidarity of survivors. But as sunlight pierced the blinds, Alex's phone buzzed relentlessly, voicemails from reporters, texts from Sarah pleading for updates. The world outside was unraveling faster than they'd imagined. Emily had gone public, her Instagram story a tear-streaked rant about deception and shattered trust. Bioforge CEO issued a statement decrying slanderous fabrications, but leaks from the USB were already viral, whistleblowers stepping forward, lawsuits stacking like dominoes. Jordan stirred, eyes fluttering open to meet Alex's. What now? He murmured, voice thick with sleep and uncertainty. Alex brushed a curl from his forehead, the gesture automatic, heartbreaking. We fight. Together. No more replacements. But even as he said it, doubt crept in, the legal battles ahead, the prejudice waiting to pounce on their freak status. Queer love was hard enough without adding sci-fi horror to the mix. Yet in that moment, with Jordan's head on his shoulder, Alex felt the stirrings of hope, fragile and fierce. Their fragile peace shattered mid-morning when FBI agents knocked, badges flashing like judgment. "Dr. Hayes? Mr. Rivera? We need to talk about Project Echo." Jordan paled, gripping Alex's hand as they were ushered into the back of an unmarked sedan, the cityscape blurring past in a haze of suspicion and secrets yet untold. The interrogation room at the Chicago field office smelled of stale coffee and institutional despair, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like judgmental insects. Jordan sat ramrod straight, the echo of his scientist training kicking in, while Alex slouched beside him, defiance in every line of his body. The agent across the table, Agent Reyes, a no-nonsense Latino with a stare that could curdle milk, flipped through a dossier thicker than a phone book. "Let's cut the drama, gentlemen. Bioforge isn't just some startup. They're DARPA-funded, and your little wedding stunt just blew the lid off a classified op." Jordan swallowed hard, the weight of national security crashing down. "It wasn't classified to me. They pitched it as civilian R&D, memory preservation for Alzheimer's patients." Reyes arched a brow, sliding a photo across the table, a hangar-like facility in Nevada, dotted with what looked like gestation pods. "Civilian? Try soldier resurrection. Upload a Marine's mind into a fresh body, send him back to the sandbox. But glitches happen, emotional bleed, identity drift. Your replacement was a prototype for queer erasure, testing if we could straighten the code for cohesion." Alex's blood ran cold, the room tilting. Queer erasure. Not just personal betrayal, but a blueprint for weaponized bigotry. "So they turned my boyfriend into a lab rat to prove homophobia works better with tech?" Reyes shrugged, almost sympathetic. "Welcome to the military-industrial complex. Hayes here signed NDAs thicker than your arm." Rivera's speech? "That's interference in a federal matter." "But," she leaned in, voice dropping, "we've got our own leaks. Want immunity? Talk." Hours blurred into confessions. Jordan detailing the upload process, sedation, neural stripping, the disorientation of waking in a body that felt borrowed. Alex recounting the emotional void, the prejudice layered atop grief, how queer support networks had buoyed him through the isolation. Reyes took notes, her pen scratching like claws on bone, occasionally nodding at parallels to other anomalies, soldiers returning, changed, families torn asunder by unspoken horrors. They were released by evening, slapped with gag orders but cleared of immediate charges, the feds more interested in Bioforge's execs than two heartbroken lovers. Outside, the autumn chill nipped at their heels as they walked Division Street, neon signs flickering to life. "Immunity," Jordan echoed, bitter, as if words can undo the programming. Alex halted under a street lamp, pulling him close. "Then we'll rewrite it ourselves. No more hiding." Back at the apartment, Sanctuary felt tentative, shadows lengthening with uncertainty. Sarah arrived unannounced, arms laden with takeout and tear-streaked determination. "Mom and Dad are furious. Called it that lifestyle catching up, but screw them. I'm in." Over falafel wraps, they plotted, crowdfunding for legal aid, partnering with queer advocacy groups like Lambda Legal, even reaching out to Emily. Not for reconciliation, but alliance. "She's pissed, but fair," Sarah reported. "Wants the firm gutted for using people like disposable code." Days turned to weeks, a whirlwind of depositions and demos. Alex's art became activism, murals of fractured figures reclaiming their shards, splashed across Wicker Park walls, going viral as echo hearts. Jordan, tentatively, began journaling the glitches, dreams where he and Alex danced at pride, waking with phantom warmth in his chest. Therapy sessions unpacked the layers, Jordan grappling with imposter syndrome, Alex navigating forgiveness without erasure. "It's not about forgetting the hurt," their counselor, a soft-spoken non-binary therapist named Kai, urged. "It's integrating the scar. Makes you stronger." But tension simmered beneath the surface, old wounds festering. One night, after a grueling strategy call with lawyers, Jordan snapped, lashing out at Alex for glorifying the pain in his art. "You turn my hell into hashtags. What about me, Alex? The guy stuck in this Frankenstein skin." Alex fired back, voice cracking. "And I'm what? The villain who loved the original? You left me to grieve a ghost." The argument escalated, words weaponized, prejudices unearthed, like Jordan accusing Alex of queer martyrdom, Alex retorting with corporate closet case. They parted in silence, Jordan crashing on Sarah's couch, Alex sketching furiously until his hands cramped. Reconciliation came circuitously, via a shared memory triggered by a chance encounter. At a Boys Town bar during a Lambda rally, Alex spotted Jordan across the room, laughing with activists, his face alight in a way the programming never captured. Heart pounding, Alex wove through the crowd, the bass thrum of Born This Way, underscoring the moment. "Dance with me," he said, extending a hand. Jordan hesitated, then took it, their bodies sinking in the throng. Awkward at first, then fluid, echoes of countless nights passed. On the rooftop after, city lights sprawling like neural networks, Jordan broke. "I miss him too, the old me. But maybe this version. He loves you harder, knowing what we almost lost." Alex cupped his face, thumbs tracing those new scars. "Then let's build from here. No replacements. Just us, glitches and all." Their kiss was tentative, a question answered in salt and sweetness, sealing not perfection, but possibility. Yet the high was fleeting. A subpoena arrived at dawn. Bioforge countersuing for defamation, dragging Emily into the fray as a willing participant. Whispers of deeper conspiracies surfaced, government cover-ups, rival firms sabotaging trials. Jordan's glitches intensified, blackouts where he'd wake murmuring Alex's name in terror. "It's failing," he confessed one stormy night, thunder rattling windows. "The integration's unraveling. What if I lose myself again?" Alex held him through the shakes, whispering anchors, "Then I'll find you." Every time. As winter gripped Chicago, blanketing streets in ice, their alliance fractured from within. Emily reached out, not in rage, but raw vulnerability. A coffee meetup at a Loop Cafe, her engagement ring swapped for a simple silver band. "I thought he was distant because of the accident," she admitted, stirring latte foam. "Not because he was engineered to forget you." Empathy bridged the gap. She joined their legal team, her family's influence a battering ram against Bioforge's walls. But trust was a casualty. Jordan withdrawing into work at a nonprofit now, decoding ethics and AI, while Alex's murals drew hate mail from bigots decrying freak propaganda. The climax brewed in a federal courtroom, snow swirling outside like agitated ghosts. Testimonies flew, Jordan recounting the upload's violation, Alex evoking the emotional terrorism of erasure, Sarah unveiling financial trails to black-budget slush funds. The judge, a grizzled veteran with a rainbow pin on his robe, leaned forward as Alex took the stand. "Mr. Rivera, how has this replacement impacted your sense of self?" Alex met Jordan's gaze across the room, steady. "It taught me love isn't ownership. It's witnessing the mess, the code, the heart, and choosing it anyway." The verdict dropped like a gavel on glass. Bioforge dismantled, executives indicted, reparations funneled to victims. Cheers erupted, but for Alex and Jordan, it was hollow. Victory tasting of ash when Jordan collapsed mid-hug, eyes glazing over. "Anomaly cascade," he gasped as paramedics swarmed. In the ER, doctors confirmed. "Rejection syndrome, the synthetic synapses frying." "We can stabilize," the lead surgeon said. "But full reversal? Experimental." The hospital room echoed with the beep of monitors, a sterile symphony underscoring Jordan's fragile vigil. Tubes snaked across his arms, delivering cocktails of immunosuppressants and neural stabilizers, his skin pallid under the harsh lights. Alex paced the linoleum, phone clutched like a talisman, fielding calls from Sarah, "He's a fighter," and Emily, "Tell him we're suing for better tech, idiot-proof stuff." But beneath the bustle, fear gnawed. What if this was the end of the echo, leaving only voids? Jordan stirred as dusk painted the blinds in bruised purples, his voice a rasp. "Feels like the upload in reverse, memories bleeding back, unfiltered." Alex perched on the bed's edge, lacing fingers with his. "Good memories or bad?" A weak smile cracked Jordan's lips. "All of them. The crash, the dark, then you, waiting, like a lighthouse in the code." They talked then, unhurried, unpacking the psychological detritus. Jordan's guilt over the erasure, Alex's resentment morphing into resolve. Therapy's teaching me. Alex said, forgiveness isn't absolution. It's space for growth. Discharge brought tentative normalcy. A sublet in Ukrainian village, neutral ground with wide windows overlooking community gardens. Winters in Chicago demanded resilience. They bundled against the wind, walks along the frozen Chicago River becoming ritual. Jordan's recovery was jagged. Good days of collaborative sketches, Alex designing logos for queer startups, Jordan consulting on ethical AI panels. Bad days of migraines that pinned him to bed, whispering doubts. Am I real enough for you? He'd ask, vulnerability raw. Alex's answer evolved. From, you're you, to real's overrated. You're vital. Prejudice lurked in shadows, amplified by their notoriety. Online trolls doxed Alex's freelance gigs, labeling him the agenda pusher. Jordan fielded slurs at conferences, whispers of lab rat trailing him. One night, after a brick shattered their window, scrawled with abomination, fear crystallized. They fortified security cams, queer neighborhood watches, but the isolation chafed. Enter Mia, a trans journalist who'd covered the trial, her sharp wit and sharper instincts a balm. Over beers at a Logan Square taproom, she pitched a podcast, Echoes Unerased, chronicling their story with guest spots from other survivors. Queer vets grappling with experimental implants, families of enhanced loved ones. Recording sessions became catharsis, microphones capturing not just words, but the pauses heavy with unspoken grief. Jordan's episodes delved into the science of self. Identity isn't binary code or blood type. It's the stories we tell ourselves and the ones others try to silence. Alex countered with emotional cartography, mapping heartbreaks as turning points. Listeners flooded in, donations pouring for a foundation. Rainbow Reboot, funding therapy for tech trauma victims. Emily even guested, her arc from jilted bride to ally a redemption raw and real. I married a lie, she said, voice steady, but I chose truth. That's the real vow. Twists emerged organically, like neural pathways forging anew. A defector from BioForge, Dr. Elias Thorne, the lead engineer, surfaced in witness protection, his conscience a late-blooming flower. Over encrypted video from an undisclosed safe house, he confessed, the queer suppression module? It was my design, sold as stability enhancement. I thought it was progress, until I saw the fallout in Jordan's logs. Guilt etched his features, a mirror to Jordan's own. Collaboration bloomed. Thorne smuggling data on countermeasures, Jordan reverse engineering glitches into safeguards. Alex visualized it all in infographics, turning arcane code into accessible art. But conflict crested when Thorne proposed a radical fix, a reintegration procedure, merging residual original engrams with the current framework. 80% success rate, he hedged, but risks. Personality shifts, memory loss. Jordan wavered, the allure of wholeness clashing with terror of erasure 2.0. Alex, scarred by the first betrayal, pushed back. We've built this. You, glitches and grace. Don't chase ghosts. Arguments reignited, old fault lines cracking. Jordan accusing Alex of control, Alex fearing abandonment. You replaced me once, he hurled. What's stopping round two? The rift deepened during a foundation gala at the Field Museum. Dinosaurs looming like omens amid tuxes and gowns. Jordan cornered Thorne in a shadowed hall. Whispers of consent forms exchanged. Alex overheard, betrayal igniting. He fled to the lakeshore, waves crashing like accusations, phoning Sarah in tears. He's doing it again, trading us for better. Sarah's counsel cut through. Or maybe he's fighting for the us that includes him, whole. Dawn found Alex returning, apology on lips, only to find Jordan packing, not fleeing, but preparing for trial runs in Thorne's lab. Trust rebuilt in increments, joint sessions with Kai, vulnerability exercises where they voiced fears without armor. I need to try, Jordan explained, eyes pleading. Not to replace, but reclaim. Alex nodded, heart pounding. Then we do it together. No secrets. The procedure loomed in spring, cherry blossoms defiant against April chill. Prep was grueling. Scans, simulations, psychological stress tests mimicking upload horrors. Jordan's nightmares peaked, waking screaming Alex's name, clinging like flotsam. The day arrived under cerulean skies, Thorne's makeshift clinic in a Gary warehouse, far from prying eyes. Alex held Jordan's hand through sedation, whispering, "Come back to me. All of you." Hours stretched eternal, monitors beeping Morse code of hope and dread. When Jordan emerged, groggy but grinning, Alex's world righted. "It's louder in here," he murmured, voice textured with layered timbres. "The old me's chatting up the new one. They're getting along." Recovery was a revelation. Memories unspooled like film reels, forgotten pride floats, stolen kisses in alleyways, the accident's blur of screeching tires. But integration brought baggage, flashes of suppressed rage at the firm, grief for the lost months. Jordan channeled it into advocacy, testifying before Congress on bioethics, his story a clarion against weaponized identity. Alex's art flourished, a series of fractured codes, touring galleries, evoking empathy from straights and queers alike. Yet prejudice persisted, a hydra-headed beast. A rival firm poached Thorne, twisting his work into patriot enhancements for border agents. Rumors of queer recruits recalibrated. Protests erupted in D.C., Alex and Jordan at the forefront, signs reading "My body, my code." Clashes with counter-protesters turned ugly, a bottle shattering near Jordan's head, blood mixing with rain. In the ER again, stitches fresh, he turned to Alex. "Worth it?" Alex kissed his temple. "Every scar." Summer brought a surprise alliance. Emily, now dating a non-binary artist, proposed a joint foundation event, a reboot wedding. Symbolic vows for survivors. Not for them, but the community. Jordan hesitated, PTSD flickering. "Vows feel fragile." Alex squeezed his hand. "Then let's make unbreakable ones." The reboot wedding unfolded on a sun-drenched afternoon in Grant Park, rainbow banners fluttering like liberated flags, the skyline a jagged testament to resilience. Couples from all spectra exchanged promises, not rings, but custom USBs etched with personal manifestos, symbols of stories reclaimed. Jordan and Alex weren't on the program, but they emceed, Jordan's voice steady as he invoked, "In a world that tries to rewrite us, we author our own endings." Alex followed, eyes locked on his. "Love isn't downloaded, it's debugged, one line at a time." Cheers cascaded, but beneath the joy, undercurrents swirled. Thorne's defection had birthed a shadow network, vigilantes hacking Bioforge remnants, leaking files that exposed congressional ties. One dossier hit their inbox anonymously, evidence of a Phase 2, targeting queer youth in foster care for corrective uploads. Horror galvanized them. Jordan dove into decryption, Alex rallying artists for awareness campaigns. Sleepless nights in their new Logan Square row house, bought with foundation funds, became war rooms, coffee-fueled and fierce. Conflict ignited when Jordan's reintegration hit a snag. Phantom pains from the original body, echoes of the crash manifesting as migraines that blurred reality. "I see two lives overlapping," he confessed during a blackout, curled on the kitchen floor. "The one with you, perfect, the lab one, sterile." Alex, ever the fixer, researched holistic aids, yoga with a queer collective, sound baths tuned to brainwave frequencies. But doubt crept. Was this sustainable, or a ticking bomb? External pressures compounded. Emily's ex-father-in-law, Wade, her almost, sued the foundation for defamation by association, dredging up old prejudices in court filings, promoting unnatural lifestyles via fraudulent tech. Media frenzy reignited, paparazzi staking out their home, one tabloid splash screaming, "Franken-fiancés, gay ghosts haunt Chicago." Hate mail escalated, threats scrawled in marker, delivered by drone. Sarah, now full-time ops manager, installed panic buttons, but paranoia festered. A turning point came via an unexpected messenger. A teenage runaway, Jamie, crashing at a youth shelter Alex volunteered at. Non-binary and foster system scarred, Jamie confessed. "They tried uploading me, said it'd fixed the confusion." The they? Bioforge holdouts, experimenting underground. Jordan's expertise mobilized, safe houses, extractions, an underground railroad for digital refugees. Jamie became their first success, transitioning not just gender but self, with Alex mentoring art therapy. The operation expanded, but so did risks. A raid on a Jersey City lab went south, federal tip-off, agents swarming as Jordan extracted data drives. Gunfire echoed, a bullet grazing his shoulder, Alex's scream lost in chaos. Evac to a safe house in Milwaukee, stitches under flickering fluorescence, Jordan quipped. Third time's the charm for this body. Alex's laughter broke into sobs. Stop joking. I can't lose you again. In the dim light, they vowed, no more solo missions. Partnership redefined. Psychological depths plumbed further in therapy marathons. Kai guided shadow work. Jordan confronting the erased self, a meditation where he dialogued with the upload's ghosts. You're not villain, he told the Spectre. Just scared code. Alex unpacked his own shadows, abandonment fears from a father's early exit, amplified by Jordan's replacement. I built walls, he admitted, but you keep breaching them. Breakthroughs bonded them tighter, intimacy rebuilding in layers. Shared baths scented with eucalyptus, slow dances to Nina Simone, touches that mapped scars like constellations. Twists layered unexpectedly. During a foundation retreat in the Shawnee Forest, Jordan proposed, not on one knee, but mid-hike, ring a simple titanium band engraved with binary for us, 0111010101110011. Not perfect code, he said, kneeling in mud, but ours. Alex, tears mixing with rain, accepted, debugged, and deployed. Planning ensued, a queer ceremony in the dunes of Indiana Dunes, waves as witnesses. But climax loomed with Phase 2's architect, Victor Lang, Bioforge's rogue VP, holed up in a Belize compound. Intel pinpointed him funding black market uploads, targeting LGBTQ plus refugees. The team, infiltrators including Thorne and Jamie, mounted an op, Jordan insisting on fieldwork. This ends with me, he argued. Alex relented, wiring comms from a Chicago van, heart in throat as feeds crackled, breaching perimeter. Lang's got guards. Shit, he's armed. Tension peaked in real-time horror. Jordan cornered, Lang sneering. You're the glitch that started it all. One purge, and a scuffle, shots fired, static swallowing screams. Alex's world narrowed to the speaker. Jordan, respond. Silence stretched eternal. Then, got him. Drive secure. Extraction was pandemonium, chopper blades whirring, Lang zip-tied. Jordan's face bloodied but triumphant. Back stateside, indictments flew, Phase 2 dismantled, but the toll lingered. PTSD flashbacks for the team, Jordan's shoulder a permanent twinge. In the quiet aftermath, relationships evolved. Emily's romance blossomed into a throuple dynamic. Boundaries explored with grace. Sarah found love with a fellow advocate. Their wedding a foundation milestone. Alex and Jordan's bond deepened, not in fairy tale gloss, but gritty authenticity. Arguments over chores yielding to make-up hikes. Vulnerabilities shared like open-source code. As autumn waned, they stood on their rooftop, city lights winking below. Think we'll ever be normal? Jordan mused, arm around Alex's waist. Alex chuckled. Normal's the real glitch. We're the upgrade. Winter's grip loosened into a tentative spring, cherry blossoms defiant against the scars of survival. The dunes' ceremony dawned misty, Lake Michigan's breath veiling the shore in ethereal hush. Guests gathered in a semicircle, queer kin from shelters and labs, Sarah beaming as best woman, Emily officiating with wry eloquence. In circuits and souls, we find our matches. Jordan, in a linen suit the color of sea glass, took Alex's hands, vows exchanged like keys to encrypted hearts. I promise to debug with you, Jordan said, voice carrying over waves, through crashes and compiles, loving every line. Alex, eyes shining, replied, and I'll render your world in color, glitches as art, forever your anchor. Rings slid on, titanium cool, promises warm, sealed with a kiss that tasted of salt and forever. Cheers erupted, bonfire crackling as stories swapped. Jamie's first gallery show, Thorne's memoir in the works, survivors toasting resilience. Honeymoon was a road trip down Route 66. Detours to queer landmarks, Stonewall echoes in Chicago haunts, Albuquerque's two spirit centers. In a Taos cabin, under star-pricked skies, they made love not as reclamation but celebration, bodies known, souls synced. No rush, no scripts, just presence, the quiet thunder of being seen. Back home, life layered complexities. The foundation thrived, chapters sprouting in LA and Atlanta, but bureaucracy bit. Funding cuts from conservative donors, internal debates on purity of missions. Should they aid straight victims too? Jordan mediated, his integrated wisdom a bridge. Erasure doesn't discriminate. Neither should we. Alex's murals scaled nationally. A MoMA exhibit coded queers, drawing crowds and critics. One review sniping sensationalism over substance. He shrugged it off, channeling barbs into bolder strokes. Personal evolutions unfolded. Jordan's glitches faded to whispers, but he pursued a PhD in neuroethics, thesis on autonomy in augmented selves. Alex illustrating chapters with metaphorical diagrams. Fatherhood whispers emerged, surrogacy consultations, dreams of a child navigating dual legacies, science's wonders and warnings. They'll have your curls, Alex teased, and my dramatic flair. Conflicts arose, inevitable as updates. A foundation schism over Thorne's involvement, his past designs a sticking point, forced Jordan to choose loyalty or progress. He's redeemed, he argued in boardroom battles, Alex backing with data vis of impact metrics. Resolution came hard-won. Thorne stepping back, but consulting remotely, his atonement a quiet force. Prejudice's final lash came via a Supreme Court case, Bioforge appeals, arguing national security shielded experiments. Alex and Jordan testified, Jordan's calm dissection of ethical voids swaying justices, Alex's visuals humanizing the abstract, charts of broken families, portraits of erased loves. Victory tilted 5-4, precedent set for consent in tech, ripples extending to AI rights. Years blurred into legacy. At 35, Jordan keynote TED. We're not replacements. We're evolutions, queer, coded, unbreakable. Alex's book, Glitch Love, topped charts, proceeds seeding scholarships. Their brownstone bustled. Jamie crashing post-college, Sarah's kids toddling through Pride Prep, Emily's polycule hosting game nights. On their 10th anniversary, back in Millennium Park, snowflakes dancing as in that first promise, Jordan pulled Alex close. Replaced overnight, but you rebuilt me daily. Alex smiled, green eyes alight. And you revealed the truth that saved us both. No destructions left, only futures forged in fire. Love's code eternal, glitches be damned. In the end, the wedding that could have ended everything birthed a revolution. Hearts mended, prejudices cracked, identities affirmed. Chicago's winds carried their story, a testament that even in replacement's shadow, truth's revelation builds empires of empathy. And they walked on, hand in hand, into whatever upload awaited, together, unerasable.